Another one of the big questions of life is, what is consciousness? And for the purposes of meditation, we see consciousness as first knowing who I am. Secondly, being aware of who I really am. And thirdly, being able to enjoy who I am. My consciousness determines really everything else in my mind, because my consciousness feeds my thoughts and my feelings and my whole experience of life. In the practice of meditation, we begin to see two main states of consciousness. The first is a consciousness that governs our mind, our thinking, our attitudes and behavior at this time. We call it body consciousness. And this is a consciousness that is really instilled in me from the moment of birth. Often I think that when I'm born, I think this is my mother, this is my father, this is my home, these are my brothers, these are my sisters, this is my city, this is my country, this is my religion. I start to build this sense of identity around my body. And as I go further, this is my profession, this is my husband, my wife, my kids. If you begin to see, we start to build this entire network around this body and all the labels that this body represents, but they are all temporary. And so what happens is that the more I start to create a body-conscious state of mind, it breeds two children. One is fear. I begin to fear losing that which I begin to identify with. And the second is insecurity. I begin to feel quite insecure about my identity when it is challenged. The more I build this temporary identity of my body, it produces many negative states of mind. And perhaps two children in particular. One is fear and the second is insecurity. As I begin to build up my identity based on my body, my community, my country, my religion, I fear losing that. And secondly, I become insecure when anything or anyone challenges what my body represents, my bodily identity. And so in simple terms, that means I go up and down. So what we're beginning to see is that when I sow the seed of a temporary or false identity in my consciousness, it grows a whole tree of ego, anger, stress, anxiety, hurt, sensitivity, the myriad of emotions that often are governing my state of mind at the moment. What practical meditation is doing is that it's taking us into a new state of consciousness, what we call soul consciousness. And this is really the first step of meditation. And I begin to sow the seed of the thought in my mind that I am a soul. I am eternal, immortal, non-physical. And as I begin to create this awareness in my mind, it begins to create a whole new consciousness. It's like I begin to see a different world around me. Sometimes I liken it to a train journey. When you're on a train, you're sitting in the train stops at a station. People hop on this train, people hop off the train. You go to the next station. People hop on the train, people hop off. You keep going with this process, people coming and people going from the train. Eventually you hop off the train. Actually, the train is life. The natural state of life is that people and relationships come into your life and go out. Wealth and possessions come into your life and go out of your life. Roles and responsibilities come into your life and go out of your life. Actually, I can't hold on to anything. But what is constant in all this change is I, the soul. And as I begin to create the awareness of who I am as a soul, not just when I meditate, as I move about my life, I begin to understand the nature of life is change. And I don't feel hurt, upset, disturbed by the constant change which is happening around me. And so what is really happening to become soul conscious when I meditate? In my experience is that when I sit down to meditate, I begin to first let go identifying with what I do. I step back and withdraw that I have a profession, I'm a mother, I'm a father. Secondly, I step back from identifying with what I represent, all the labels of this body. I begin to withdraw, let go, step back. And thirdly, I even begin to let go identifying with my past story as well. The more I let go, I come to this pristine point of stillness, I, the soul. This is soul consciousness, and soul consciousness automatically takes me back into my original nature, where internally I feel so settled, so easy, so calm, and in a state of self-respect and well-being. I would say the aim of meditation is not to be peaceful. That's the result. The aim of meditation is to realize who I am, and automatically I begin to feel the experience of peace.